Hi guys, I'm Landon, and this is David, and we're Tappy Hoops. We haven't posted in a while because it was spring break for us, and we just timeline didn't work out. So yeah. But today's video is 1 month left of the regular season, and we're just saying who we think is going to get each award or who deserves it. So we're each going to give our top three, and some honorable mentions and some awards. March Madness, I won. I don't even know what the score is. I just figured I won because David's bracket wasn't that good and my bracket was very good. Well, not very good. It just was better than most people's. So yeah, leave comments below for what David should have to do because for losing. Yeah. So let's get right into it. Okay. So who do you have? Who do you want to go like? 1, 2,
3, and then 2, and then 1, I think.
Oh yeah, okay.
So, for my third place for Coach of the Year.
Honorable mentions probably first.
Oh, honorable mentions. I had Mike Malone, the Denver Nuggets, and interim head coach for the Hawks, Nate McMillan. He's just boosted their floor. They've been like 71% win percentage since he's gotten there.
He's an intern.
Yeah, right now.
Okay, because I didn't know he was an intern, but I heard about someone saying he'll be full time next. He should go full time next year or something.
I've heard a lot of people saying he shouldn't go full time next year, but you never know. He's always in that Coach of the Year conversation, but he can never push that team all the way up to 1, 2, 3 seed. For my third player though, my third coach, I have Quinn Snyder of the 1 seed Utah Jazz. I just think he's brought them to more than the sum of their parts.
So my 3 is Tom Thibodeau, just because he's the Knicks head coach, and they have exceeded expectations this year. He's just done a great job of getting them to the playoffs. No one thought the Knicks were going to make the playoffs this year.
And he's my number 2.
Yeah, so it's just switched for us.
You have Quinn Snyder as number 2, and I have Tibbs as number 2. But my number 1 is Monty Williams for the Phoenix Suns.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I have Doc Rivers for my number 1, just because. Why not? And he's made that team into a real contender this year. And yeah.
I just don't see Doc Rivers is Sixers, not Clippers right now.
Yeah. Okay,
that makes sense. But Monty Williams is, I think he, starting from that 8-0 run in the bubble, and they missed the playoffs, it lit a fire into that team.
I kind of forgot about him when I made this, but I think he could definitely have a good case, a very good case, if they get the 1 seed.
Yeah, I think they could get the 1 seed for sure.
They're 1.5 games behind now, I think.
1 or 2 games behind, yeah. So they could definitely get back into that 1 seed, or they've never been in the 1 seed, but they could get to that 1 seed.
Did you know? I just saw a thing that I was talking about. It's Devin Booker's first 40-win season, which is really sad. Okay, but moving on to 6th man of the year. I don't have any honorable mentions for this, but do you?
Patty Mills.
Okay.
I have nothing to say about it. He's just, I've heard his name been thrown around for that, but he's not in my top 3, so I just had to mention him.
Okay. My third, I have Goran Dragic, just for the Heat, coming off the bench. He's their, I just would say that he's the best point guard, but, yeah.
How many games did he start? Did you check that?
I don't know, but I know he qualifies for starting.
Okay, he does. Okay. I didn't check for him, but I don't think he's in my top 3. I have Montrezl Harrell for my third player. Because he's been spark plug for the Lakers, just like he was for the Clippers. His stats are a bit down, so he probably won't win 6th man of the year this year, but he still is in that upper echelon of 6-man players.
Yeah, he's my number 2, so same thing of he's kind of he's been able to help with the Lakers this year, missing AD and LeBron. Yeah, he's just been able to help keep them in the playoffs.
So my number 2 is Chris Boucher of the Toronto Raptors. His stats have been pretty good. He's one of the bright spots for the Raptors. I mean, they're still starting Aaron Baines, which is kind of stupid, but they should start Chris Boucher. But he's just been a bright spot for them, even though they've been playing poorly this year.
Yeah. Fun fact, Chris Boucher is one of David's favorite players.
Yeah. I don't know why. If I had to pick a player on the Raptors, it would be Chris Boucher.
Just does. And then I think it's unanimous for number 1. It's Jordan Clarkson. There's not much else to say. I mean, he's just been amazing off the bench for the Jazz this year.
Great scorer, great facilitator. He's just like the prototypical 6-man of the year.
Mm-hmm. He's like
So for most improved player, I think this might be more unanimous too. My honorable mention is Christian Wood. If he didn't get injured, he would have won, I think.
Who?
Christian Wood.
Yeah. Well, no, I wasn't. Yeah.
I think if he didn't get injured at the start of the year, he would win.
Yeah, I was looking at your number 2 because I kind of rushed when I made this, but when I was making my list, I knew there was a player I was missing for most improved, and I couldn't think of who it was, and it's your number 2.
Okay. So my number 3 is Jeremy Grant. He's just been putting solid stats on the Pistons. His role has changed, and he's gotten more minutes, got more usage. I think he's basically the same player that he was in Denver. He's just getting more minutes and more usage. That's why he's not higher on my list.
So I'm gonna kind of group my 3 and 2 together here, but it's Shea and De'Aaron Fox, just because they both pushed it. They both pushed their points per game to from 20 points to 25-ish.
Right.
Which that's not a lot, but that's a huge jump.
Right.
That's what sets apart just a solid scorer and starter to an all-star kind of. And yeah, I just think that they've made that leap this year. Mm-hmm. And then, your number 2 is?
My number 2 is Jaylen Brown, the Celtics. I think while their record hasn't been better, he's been playing so much better. I had him as my starter for the All-Star game, even though he never got there. I think he was good enough to be the All-Star starter with Bradley Beal. He's just been playing so well on both ends of the floor, and now there's actually an argument between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who is the better player on that team.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know how much he's averaging now, but I know around the All-Star break he was averaging close to 30.
Right. I think it's dropped down a bit, but still his impact is there.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, again, he's a good number 2 in the race, but kind of 6-man of the year. I think it's unanimous who number 1 is. Julius Randle. Again, he's been an all-star for the Knicks this year.
Single-handedly brought them to the playoffs. Well, not single-handedly, but they've had a lot of injuries, and he's brought them to the playoffs still.
Yeah, he's led them to the playoffs, which is crazy be able to lead the New York Knicks to the playoffs right now.
And he actually added a jump shot too.
Mm-hmm.
Before he joined the Knicks, he couldn't shoot. He was just that small forward, small power forward / center who could just get you buckets down low and play good defense. Now he's added a shot that he can use to space the floor. So they could actually have someone who can't really space the floor to play with him, so he's more versatile.
Yeah. Okay. So, DPOY, Defensive Player of the Year. So for my honorable mentions, I have Giannis, who's actually statistically putting up better. I looked it up, and he's putting up statistically better statistics. He's statistically doing better this year on defense than he was last year. But he's not going to win it because I don't think so. Yeah, it's kind of sad about Giannis with voting team, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But and then Embiid, and then my boy Matisse Thybulle, and that's not even me being it's me being a little biased, but that's not even me. That's not me being jokingly saying Matisse Thybulle is an amazing defensive player. He is not joking. He is in all seriousness an honorable mention for Defensive Player of the Year. And Ben Simmons himself, who I have up in my top 3, and he claims that he's the Defensive Player of the Year this year. He said that if Matisse Thybulle had his minutes, that Matisse would be the Defensive Player of the Year, which that's a huge compliment and it's totally true. And
You're not biased at all.
I love you, Matisse.
So I also had Thibault and Antetokounmpo. I just Matisse and Giannis for my honorable mentions. I think we have the same top 3, but just different order.
Yeah.
So my number 3 is Miles Turner. I was debating whether to put him or Giannis at number 3. Miles Turner's been out with injury recently, but still averaging at least 3 blocks per game is insane. Single-handedly brought the Pacers from a 29th best defense to the 16th.
Yeah. Yeah, I put Ben Simmons at number 3, just because. Okay, well no. I put Ben Simmons at number 3.
Are you looking at my list and seeing how you're wrong?
Well, no. I need to talk about my whole 3 kind of to say why I put people where I was.
Okay.
So basically, Rudy Gobert is my number 1 because he's. A lot of people say that he's the best player on his team, which I mean I'm not gonna argue. Like it's kind of the thing is like if you can argue that he's the best player on the team, and you put up a good argument, I'll
I
agree.
was able to yesterday. So.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. And then, so yeah, Rudy Gobert, he's definitely best defender.
Yeah.
He's best defender on his team, and he's just like, he locks down that paint for the best team in the league. And are they the best defensive? No.
No, I don't think so, but they're
Or
close.
Sixers?
I don't know
Or
who the
no,
best team in the league is.
Lakers.
That's
Lakers.
defensive
I
team.
know. They're up there. They're up there. And then Miles Turner, I actually think that, this is kind of weird, but I think him being injured and going out of the game helped his case for Defensive Player of the Year, because it showed how much we rely on him and how
On
much
defense, though,
and how
not
much
offense.
how just horrible and just wretched our defense is without him. But when he's like, and even early in the season when like he just was gone for a few games, like I remember we played the Mavs one game and just we were horrible without him, and I think that kind of helps his case, which is weird. And then Ben Simmons is my number 3, just because, and I think he could win it. I actually think he's more probable to win it than Miles Turner would be to win it, but I just think Miles Turner, I'm biased. But yeah, Ben Simmons is my number 3 because, yeah, I mean, he's all over the place. He can defend anyone, he claims, which is true.
Yeah, I have Simmons as my number 1, Gobert as my number 2. I'd say I had Simmons over Gobert just because of his perimeter and like defense down low too. Like he can do both, and he do both well. I'd say Rudy Gobert, while he's so elite on like the inside the paint, he can be taken out of games sometimes, and that like we've seen that problem a lot in the playoffs too. Not as much in the regular season. Maybe that's why he's won 2 Defensive Player of the Years. I'm not dismissing that, but Ben Simmons I think deserves it more this year.
Yeah. Okay, then for Rookie of the Year, so I mean, your honorable mentions.
So my honorable mentions are Emmanuel Quickley, the starting point guard for the Knicks, who are basically up and coming team that can make noise in the playoffs. I did not expect them or him to make any jumps this year.
Yeah, he's just another piece of that Knicks team that we've been talking about basically through this whole video of like Julius Randle, Tom Thibodeau, same thing. It's like he's helped in that process.
Mm-hmm. And then my other honorable mention is Sadiq Bey. He's just been a nice player for the Pistons. He's averaging good stats for that team, even though they're playing horribly. It makes sense that he gets a lot of usage and he's being productive with those minutes.
Yeah. Then there's Jason Tate, who's number 2 on the Rookie of the Year player
for NBA.com, which I think it makes sense to a point. Like he doesn't have that potential to be Rookie of the Year. I don't think anybody thinks he's going to be even in the running for Rookie of the Year. But the way he's playing definitely needs to be noticed. It needs to be commended.
I have to put honorable mention for Wiseman, just cause I don't know.
Like in the minutes that he's played, obviously he's made mistakes, and maybe hasn't fit the Warriors' timetable. That may be one reason why people think he's worse than he actually is.
Yeah.
But his injuries have really hurt him.
Yeah, definitely. And like, I think he's he's had like just a learning rookie season, but like it's not bad per se. He's just like he makes mistakes, but I think if he does stay with the Warriors, which I don't really see him staying just because again he doesn't fit their timetable. If he's get coached by Draymond, which he has been, and Draymond's been helping him a lot this season, then I don't get he could get a lot better.
Right.
And then I looked at your paper and we have the same exact order for
Rookie of the Year.
Our top 3. So at number 3 we have Tyrese Halliburton. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, I originally had him as like the 5th or 6th pick in the draft. I thought the Hawks would be a good place for him. But when he dropped to the 12th spot, I immediately thought, this is great for the Kings. They actually get somebody to play the best talent available then. And he's really shown that. He's putting up great numbers. While he's fallen back a slight bit, he hasn't been starting as much because Buddy Hield starts every game for some reason, which he deserves sometimes. But I feel like Tyrese Halliburton has been that solid 3rd spot, and I don't think he will move away from that unless Sadiq Bey just like dominates at the end of the year.
Did all that basically. And then number 2 we have Ant. He
can score.
Yeah, he can score. I mean, is he the best defensive player on that Timberwolves team? Like, that's not saying much, but I think he is.
I'd argue Ricky Rubio is better defensively than Anthony Edwards. But like Ricky Rubio is like average.
Gosh, they're so bad. They're so bad defensively.
And their pick is going to the Warriors.
Yeah. So yeah. He can score. He's explosive. He's had some really good dunks this year. A1 from day one, baby. If it weren't for LaMelo Ball, he'd be head and shoulders above everybody else. LaMelo and Anthony Edwards are definitely those top 2. You can argue about the 3rd one, but you have to have LaMelo and Anthony Edwards as top 2. Yeah, and then exactly. LaMelo's number 1 for me and you. And I think everyone. He just came back from injury as of recording this video, and it's hard to say. Like, I feel like if he hadn't come back from injury, he still probably should have deserved. Like, even if he was injured for the rest of the season, I think he still would have deserved.
I think it would have been similar to that Joel Embiid. He didn't win Rookie of the Year because he only played like 37 games or something like that. And I'm pretty sure LaMelo Ball has played under 40 or 50. So it would have been kind of weird to put him in that Rookie of the Year having win when he hasn't played 75% of the games.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. And if for some reason he gets injured again,
then
I could see Anthony Edwards winning. Okay, moving on to the moment you've all been waiting for, the MVP.
So this year I feel like there isn't one front runner. Usually there's a front runner. There's somebody who everybody knows is going to be MVP. There's no surprise most of the time. This year I think there's a lot of people that you could put at number 1, number 2, or number 3. There's a lot of competition for that. So I think we might have a lot of differences, or at least some differences.
Yeah.
So for honorable mentions, James Harden and Steph Curry. I didn't have LeBron in there.
I thought about putting LeBron, but he's missed too much time.
I think he's missed too much time.
For it to be in the MVP conversation.
Right.
But he in honorable mentions, he's in honorable mentions kind of because he would be in it if he hadn't been injured.
Yeah. And I'd say another player that should be in the conversation that isn't, Chris Paul.
Yeah. But it's kind of hard.
His stats aren't good enough, but way his leadership on arguably the best regular season team in the West.
Yeah. It's just hard it's hard because you can't give him an MVP when he has Devin Booker and
Right.
Yeah. Did you say Kawhi?
I did not.
Yeah, I picked Kawhi. It's kind of hard to pick Kawhi over Paul George. And Paul George has been popping off recently.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's an honorable mention.
It's Kawhi.
It's Kawhi. I don't know. Yeah, so Harden, you wouldn't expect him to have done what he has this year, but he's been he's kind of just accepted his role as like the point guard of the Nets. And
one reason I didn't have him in the top 3 was because of his stint in Houston this year.
yeah.
I feel like if he had started the year in Brooklyn, I think he would be much more in that top 3. I'd probably have him at either 2 or 3, but I think the top 2 are pretty solid for me.
Mm-hmm.
So for my number 3, I have Giannis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have Giannis too.
He maybe should be in that top 2, but I don't think he will win it just because of voter fatigue. I think it would be hard for me to even see him as a finalist just because of that voter fatigue, which we're not 100% sure what happened, but I've seen it a lot where people have just been dismissing him because he's already won twice in a row and hasn't produced in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's just, he's having another phenomenal MVP caliber season, but like nobody's saying. I've rarely heard. I don't think I've ever really heard people talking about Giannis in the MVP race. It's usually these top 2 that, this is these top 2 that people are always talking about. And I kind of feel bad. Like, I know you followed. Like, I don't know, but his team's been good. I mean, his team's not the number 1 seed like he was. Like they were.
But they're number 3.
Yeah. They're number 3 in like a very much more competitive East this year.
And you said and you looked it up. He's doing better on defense than he was last year.
Yeah.
Too. To me, the battle of the bigs this year for sure.
Yeah. So number 2, our number 1 and 2
are swapped.
Okay. But it's Embiid. It's Joel Embiid and Nikola Jokic. Just tell me your thought process.
So, one reason I have Embiid lower than Jokic is because of his injury. I think injuries have plagued this whole season. You talk about LaMelo Ball, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, a lot of players who have been injured. You can add LeBron and Joel Embiid to that. I'd say Joel Embiid may have better stats. I'd say he has a better number 2, Simmons. And Jokic has just been balling out when Joel Embiid has been injured.
Jokic has the most games played.
Right.
Has he played every game?
I think he's missed 1 game.
Okay. Yeah, that really helps the case for MVP.
Like, being able to, like, availability, especially in this season, is going to be valued more than ever, I think.
It's super valuable. And just, I mean, and it also shows, like, if you can average, like, MVP stats over a longer period of time, too.
Right.
That's crazy. So, yeah, the only reason I had Embiid over Jokic is just because the Jamal Murray injury just happened. And I don't exactly know how that's going to work out for Denver yet. Just, it could be good or bad.
It could be devastating for Jokic, but it also could boost his case.
Yeah. Yeah, so the only reason I have Embiid is because if Jokic, like, pops off, like, if Jokic exceeds expectations and, like, really helps the Nuggets stay competitive, then he'll win MVP. But if the Nuggets struggle and are start to lose games because of the injury, then I don't see him winning it. And then, but with Embiid, there's also the factor of Embiid has a higher seed team, which seeds always help with MVP. Yeah, but I mean, I could see either one, Embiid or Jokic, and I wouldn't be necessarily surprised either way.
Thank you guys for watching this video. If you wanted to see any longer debates about any of these award races, just tell us in the comments below, and we'll make a video about that.
Once again, thank you for watching today's video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Leave any ideas for punishments that you can use in the future, like the March Madness punishment, and then any ideas for future videos or punishments, anything like that. We're back. Sorry for not uploading for a while, and we'll get that punishment for the one-on-one out eventually. But yeah, just until then, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next Saturday. Peace.